Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to talk about, or we're going to yap about, Yap Dialogue. Now, what is Yap Dialogue? Well, let me yap to you about it. And let's just keep yapping on and on and on and yap, yap, yap about certain scenes of certain films that I find to have a lot of drawn out dialogue, a lot of drawn out scenes that don't particularly help the story, but they at least help it move along. Like it's not really important, it's not necessary, but it's still very cool, very um, realistic. For example, the Safdie brothers, one of their very first films that they ever made was a very cool indie film called Heaven Knows What. Now, there's a scene in there where Scully and Harley, the main characters, are arguing. And what I love about this scene is that it's so real. It feels like you're actually, like, when you get into a fight with a friend, or you somebody's talking talking shit about you on the street, and you're just going back and forth, and it kind of gets drawn out, and it's almost comedic in a sense. It's almost like funny. It's like, okay, when is this going to end? But I love that this was included in the film, and that we get an idea of how much Harley doesn't really care about Scully, even though he cares about her. And it's just interesting to me how a lot of characters in this film, particularly, um, there's scenes like that where, for example, the I'm forgetting his name right now, but basically there's another character in the film where he has this relationship with Harley where he wants to help her, and I personally think that he was the whole time like secretly in love with her, because there's a scene on the bus where they're just talking as if again, it feels so real. The dialogue feels so real, but technically they're yapping. They're just talking about their feelings and not really saying anything, but also saying a lot. But he basically tells her that he he doesn't understand why she loves this other guy who really is the enemy in this film, her worst enemy. Let me tell you, and even his own worst enemy, which we'll get to that, or maybe we'll not. I don't want to spoil anything, but in this particular bus scene, they're talking, and he's like, "I don't get why you like guys that treat you bad. You deserve love, baby. You deserve to be with someone who cares about you and not care about you, stuff like that." And and it's like, I'm sorry, but she couldn't give two shits. Like, she doesn't care that much about him to like get up, because he just left. I guess he after saying what he needed to say, he kind of like walked away or got off the bus. I don't remember, but he she didn't even bother to get up and say, "Hey, come back. I'm sorry," or "You're right," or something, like anything. There's like no understanding coming from her, and it's like he cares about her, but I guess it can go both ways. Like, maybe he doesn't care that much about her, and he's just saying that. Maybe he's just saying that to manipulate her into being with him, or something like that. But I don't think that's the case, because that character is very, very a very cool guy and a very compassionate guy, and I think he does his best to help Harley throughout her addictions and throughout um, days where she doesn't even have enough money to pay for food, stuff like that. Um, Another film that I'd love to talk about where um, there is some yapping, but like I said, it's yapping that may seem like it's not important, but it actually is Blood Simple. Now, this film is pretty great, and it is pretty simple. But seriously, the storyline is very simple, but the way that these directors approach the film, and for being their first film, it looks great, it sounds great, and it's just a fun little movie. And it is actually the first movie by the Coen brothers, if I'm not mistaken. Um, do not crucify me in the comments if I am wrong on that. Anyways, there's a scene that I find hilarious and endearing and just funny in general, and but also it's kind of yapping, but it's a specific yap session between two characters, the main characters pretty much. And you know that friend that just you're sitting in the car with them and they start going on about something and it's pissing you off and but they just keep going and going and going and it's like you just want to rip their head off in that moment. But there's really nothing you can do. I mean, you can't do anything about it. You just have to withstand the yap. And it's like, let me show you the actual scene. Let me show you a quick clip.
Isn't that wild? Stick your finger up the wrong person's ass. You know, a friend of mine a while back broke his hand and put in a cast. The very next day he falls, protects his bad hand, and he breaks his good one. So now he's got two busted flippers.
So I hope you found this video to be kind of interesting. My yap was pretty yappity, I'd say. I didn't really say much, but I hope I touched on a few things um, that I found very interesting about these two specific scenes or these two specific movies that are among some of my favorites. There's so many movies out there. There's so many themes, concepts, ideas, and opinions to share about a lot of films. There's so many movies I can't even begin to fathom the amount of good movies too that are out there. So if you haven't seen these two movies that I mentioned in this video, go ahead and check them out. Hopefully they intrigued you enough. I didn't want to show too many scenes or I didn't want to spoil anything for you, but hopefully I was vague enough, but also specific enough. And yeah, keep on yapping.